Did you ever think of making Carolina barbecued pork right in your kitchen instead of outside in a smoker or perhaps on a grill? Well, you can certainly do it, and I defy you to tell the difference. And sometimes when it's just so muggy out, don't you think it's really fun? Of course, in the Southwest, we don't get the mugginess, but we do have wind problems and other problems. Anyhow, to make this barbecued pork, Carolina style, we first make a marinade, which is made with an amazing amount of vinegar, and it tastes fabulous. And quite a bit of hot pepper sauce, salt and pepper, and Worcestershire sauce. And a good tip to remember if you're busy, and I think all of us are anymore, it's really hard sometimes to get everything done. If you're marinating pork, such as this pork roast, and the recipe says to marinate it overnight, a good tip to remember is that overnight in the refrigerator is the same equivalent as 2 hours at room temperature. So I've been marinating this 2 hours at room temperature, and it's this nice pork roast. And I'm just going to take it, I'm going to put the fatty side down. It's a pork, you can use pork loin, pork shoulder. This is a pork shoulder. Pork shoulder is actually a better choice because pork shoulder has more marbling of fat. And the fat makes for the moisture, and it also transports the seasonings. I always say the interstate system in a piece of meat for the chili flavors and the southwestern taste is its fat marbling. So that's a good tip to remember. Now, this will roast on a medium temperature, or a grill, I should say, or it could smoke inside a smoker. But for grilling, the timing is approximately an hour and a half. So you grill it at a very low heat. You're not grilling at a real high heat like you're doing a beef steak. And now we're going to make a baste. A baste is really quite different than a marinade. One of the most important ingredients in a baste, in addition to all the seasonings, is the oil. You've always got to have some kind of fat, butter, oil in a baste because it acts as a transportation system. In other words, all the different flavors that you're applying to meat or whatever you're adding the baste to, the transportation system is the oil, or could be butter, or whatever shortening. So I'm adding salt. Now I'm adding lots of fresh ground black pepper, and I'm adding some hot ground pure red chili. And then finally I'm adding just a wee bit of, not a wee bit, I'm adding actually almost a cup here of the cider vinegar. So you can see vinegar is a really important ingredient in both the marinade as well as the baste. And this is kind of unusual. Usually when you make a baste to go on a steak or any kind of a food, the baste will often be like real intense with herbs and whatever, and a little light on the vinegar. But down in the Carolinas, they've discovered a wonderful way with pork, and this is the way they do it. And so I'm just replicating or copying what they do. So I'm making this baste now, and the difference between a baste is that a baste is always applied on the outside of food. Usually as it's cooking, it could be applied slightly before, whereas the marinade that we made is allowed to be actually like a soaking material or a marinade for up to, well, 2 hours overnight. Sometimes in the case of other things like sauerbraten, it could be for days. So when you've made the baste, like this one, what we're going to do is we'll just take and apply it with a brush. You just want to keep basting it on, because this keeps the meat kind of remembering what its taste ought to be. See, it was marinated with it, but when you baste it, that's when you get it so nice and barbecue tasting and spicy like. This is a baste that I just previously made, and sometimes I like to apply the baste after I've taken the food off the grill. And I just want to tell you a hint that's really important for when you turn meats that are on the grill, or when you, especially when you remove them from the grill. You want to use a tongs of some sort to lift and remove it. You never want to use a fork. I know I have trouble with Gordon all the time. He always wants to stab it and do that. It's like, oh no, you're going to release all the juice. You don't want to do that. So remember that. Always try to use the tongs. And then if you want to just sort of add a little edge of flavor, you can just do like so. In fact, I often do this even after I've sliced it, clear up to the point of serving. Don't you think you'd like to come to dinner for some Carolina pork? Or maybe lunch. That'd be great too, right?